My name is Claude Bozou. I'm working for IDEMIA Identity and Security. iMARS is a project about fraud in ID document. So in ID document there are a lot of fraud capabilities. The first capability is called FOG, which stands for fraudulently obtained genuine ID document. So what does it mean? It means that it's real documents that have been issued by an actual passport authority, only they were not obtained using real identity items. The other type of frauds are forgery, which means that you alter a document that was genuine. Counterfeiting is when you create an ID document with material that you bring or you may steal them, and then you make a passport that looks very much like a real passport, but it has never been produced by a document authority. Our main topic was fraudulently obtained genuine document when the face image is morphed. It means that two people have given their face image and they have been merged by basically the IT tools, and it gives an image that looks like both people.
So the creation of morph is not a very complex process if you want to think it from an angle of computer vision. So in the very first generation, if you looked at the morphed images, they were based on detecting the landmarks and then trying to identify the landmarks of two similar looking subjects and then try to merge them into one image. And then comes the generation 2, which made use of all the advancements in the deep learning, specifically on generative adversarial networks, making sure that there was very limited amount of post-processing. In the first generation, you had to make sure you removed all the artifacts to make it look more realistic, more appealing in terms of ID card image. In the second generation, this was automated. And now comes the third generation, where we are looking beyond the generative adversarial networks to look into the large language models, which helps us also to make better quality images. And these images can be fine-tuned to have different kind of appearance, different kind of poses, different kind of lightings, somehow representing all kind of possible variations that we see in the real world.
Finding morphing with your own eyes is not easy because it doesn't work with the way your brain is built. However, for algorithm, it's extremely difficult to find morphing.
So one of the key challenges in detecting a morph is the diversity of the data. We do have data that could be plain digitally morphed image. It could be an image that could be printed, that could be scanned, that could be printed and scanned and then compressed, all leading to re-digitalized images. Each of them come with their own set of challenges in detecting. Some of them can be detected easily in digital domain by looking at the camera fingerprints, looking at the characteristics of the pixels, while when it is printed and scanned, we have diverse printers and scanners which we cannot have any control on. The chain of going from digital image to re-digitalized image is complex. It could be a number of steps that come into picture, which somehow makes it very challenging to detect with high confidence. And then there is the second aspect. When we talk about the human observers, we are looking at the competence of the human observers. We are also looking at the familiarity of the human observers to certain demographic groups, which would mean that somebody coming from a certain demographic area would be very well used to the same kind of people with the same demographic background, and maybe they are good at detecting such kind of morph, while the other people who they have not seen so much in their life, or maybe they have seen to a very limited extent. When such an image is posed to determine if it's bona fide or morphed, then it might be a challenging problem. So we are looking at two different challenges, one at the digital level or the machine level, and the second one at the human level.
I think in the future, end users will feel more confident about knowing that they have technology that can help them, as well as training so they know how to deal with the alerts from algorithms.
We did a training that can be derived as on-site, but can be also found online. So it includes a few traditional training with slides and something spoken on the slide, but it also includes a platform that I call training by example. So you are going to see examples and examples and examples of morph or non-morph images, and by seeing that and the ground truth, you are going to get more and more used to it and improve your performances. So this is open to anyone in governmental agencies.
I'm really excited about the training that's coming out of the iMARS project. It's e-learning, so we'll be able to reach out to a lot of people in different countries, and it's all free. It's made into modules that are very short, so you can fit it into a busy schedule. And you can also pause and commence the training when you want to. I'm really enthusiastic about training, and I want training to be inclusive, not exclusive. Usually we can only afford to send a few people on courses, whereas now with the e-learning that we're making, the training will be available to everyone who needs it.
Kemea has developed the training methodology, first of all, which consists of the definition of the target audience group, the trainees' target audience, the definition of the skills, the prerequisite skills that they should have, and the skills that they are going to obtain through the training. This was part of the methodology. Also the content of the training content, the training modules, the theoretical modules and the practical modules. And actually Kemea has produced the three theoretical modules. One was the facial recognition and comparison, facial comparison and identification module. This was the theoretical module. The second one, the first one was the document types and frauds, the different identification documents, types, checks and frauds, which is optional. And the third module was the image morphing, creation and detection. So these three modules were created by Kemea in collaboration with the Hellenic Police, with Frontex, with the consortium partners, the end users mainly.
Within those use cases, there are two situations. The first situation is that the person in charge has two images. The person, for instance, of the former passport and the image submitted to get a new passport. So that's two images. Or you go through the border, so the border guard sees your face and the face printed of your passport. So this is what we call differential MAD. There are two images and one is genuine. There is, of course, the case when you have only the passport, the case of the forensic police that has to make an expertise and say, this is a fraudulent passport because I see this and this and this. So this is the case where you have only one image. It's S-MAD for single image MAD, right? So the way it's done is intrinsically different, because in one case you just need to find the traces in the image that prove that there was a manipulation, or morphing. And this is completely different in DMAD, because in DMAD you have two images, so you can compare the images or compare things that are extracted from the images, called embeddings, and check whether they fit or not. So we developed techniques to find morphing attack in single MAD mode and in differential MAD mode.
NTNU has been primarily contributing in 4 different aspects within the project. The first one is, of course, to look into the morphing generation schemes. The second one is to look into the morphing attack detection schemes. The third one is to look into the quality aspects. And the fourth one is to look into the human competence. Each of them have a dedicated role in the project, and the morphing generation schemes are very essential in diversifying the data, which would mean that we should be a step ahead of the malicious actors, meaning which we want to create diverse set of data so that we can train very good algorithms that can detect all kind of unseen attacks, which is a real world scenario. When it comes to the morphing attack detection, so we have been working on a lot of different topics, a lot of different areas and algorithms such that we can make the detection much better than what it is as of today. And then we also want to make sure that the the images that are used in the system are of sufficient quality, and they should be of good quality for usage in verification scenario, in the ID issuance scenario. So that means we have made a good contribution in establishing the quality of these images by contributing to the standard. And Professor Christoph Busch is convening the SC37 WG3, which dedicatedly works on transforming the research on face image quality to standardized metrics in ISO IEC 29794-5. And the fourth one, as an educational institute, we are also invested not only in research but also training, so in educating the people. So which means the fourth work package or the fourth contribution of NTNU is in making this understanding the competence of human observers and then training them to become better at spotting the morph. Morphing attack detection algorithms actually make use of the feature representation in regular face recognition systems, which means if you take the features represented by a particular image as one vector, what we are looking at is we are looking at making a decision based on two vectors in a differential image scenario. And we have a trusted image, we have the image which is under the question, then we look at the feature vectors of these two and then try to measure the distance between them. The farther the distance or the lesser the distance, it could be morphed or it could be bona fide, depending on how you have trained your algorithm. And in the other cases where we have single image under question, then we would be training an algorithm in a very similar manner. Maybe the features are slightly different, maybe the features are tailored to that particular use case. These algorithms have been tested on sequestered data which was hosted by Bologna online evaluation platform by the partners University of Bologna, and these algorithms were tested on sequestered data, meaning which the algorithms were really tested on the data just completely unseen.
In iMARS, we have developed a mobile solution for on-the-fly identity verification that can be used in a border context or by law enforcement in general. So it's a mobile application where someone can prove that it's the right document and it's the right person that is holding or is the owner of the document. The application incorporates technology from iMARS, detecting morphs, as well as detecting presentation attacks and doing other quality controls of the document really.
So far, we have addressed only talking about morphing, fraudulently obtained genuine document when the face image is morphed. But iMARS goes beyond that. It also addresses forgery and counterfeiting. So how does it address that? First, it includes work about making passports more robust to forgery and counterfeiting. So this is done through two tools that are called code-faced and trust-face that basically takes into account the face image in order to make sure that the passport has not been altered.
My name is Abdullah Elbi. Since 3 years I'm working at KU Leuven and especially working on iMARS project, and we are a partner who is responsible with the legal, ethical and societal aspects of the project. In that regard, we carried out legal assessments, legal analysis, and how this technology will be used in practice and which laws should be applicable, and to ensure that the technology will be used respecting EU values and, of course, fundamental rights. When we say what are those rights to be impacted, first thing, it will depend on the use case. For example, in the border control domain, we can easily say right to asylum seeking. It's a right that is protected under international law in the Geneva Convention, and it's also reflected in the Charter of Fundamental Rights in the EU, and as well as other international agreements. And in this case, if like a technology should be deployed in a way that to protect this right. And when we come to another use case, it's a forensic investigation, then we can easily say that some guarantees provided in law, for example, right to have fair trial or a presumption of innocence, in this case, those rights will be important and core to be protected. And when iMARS tools are used to help forensic experts to identify whether the document itself is authentic or not, they should keep in mind that technology could have some limitation, and they should respect those rights, and noting that until the final decision, the people who are charged with this crimes or identity fraud suspicion are innocent. And we believe that if we reflect on the specific use case and some core fundamental rights, we can bring more tailored measures to mitigate the risk of technology in this case. iMARS tools process facial images of individuals, and this is personal data within the scope of data protection rules, GDPR, or law enforcement directive, or data protection rules for EU institutions if this data is processed by some EU institutions like EU LISA. In this case, the security of data and rights of data subjects, which are individuals who are subjected to iMARS technologies, should be protected. Mostly we have heard that some rights are not going well with security objectives, and we need to pick one of them to use the technology or to develop the technology, because, for example, just to make it clear, right to privacy and data protection, and they say either right to privacy and data protection or right to security. But as mentioned, right to security is also fundamental rights, which is maybe one of the main objectives of governments to maintain safety of their citizens and individuals living in the society. So I mean, this is not a clash and one choice to be made. It's kind of should go together, and it should support each other. We need to have, at the end of the day, responsible technology. And this impact should be taken into account beforehand, and especially in the design stage of the technology, where the developer of the technology plays a significant role. So if somehow we can find those weak points during the design process, it means that when it's used in real life, there will be less risk on individuals. And here I'm not saying certain group of individuals, but I'm saying all people who will be subject to the technology. We suggest that in this case, the standards provided by law, even it's not applicable, like AI Act, maybe some use case of iMARS will not be subject to AI Act obligations. Even in this case, the standards provided there should be respected as a best practice. So this is the mentality we want to deliver within the project.
iMARS is complete. We have finished the research. So what after iMARS? After iMARS, of course, we have other projects in the same domain. Well, with other universities, other industries, all the same. And they are currently running, and they are going to build on iMARS results.
In addition to looking at all this kind of unseen data, what iMARS has also as a strength is that number of partners have come up with various complementary algorithms, and these algorithms have strengths in forensic part, these algorithms have strength in looking at the digital images, some of them have strengths in looking at the print and scanned image. When you put all of these algorithms together, then we are going to have a better algorithm, what we call as ensemble algorithms. And this is something that we are looking forward that it's being taken up by other EU project, which is called Einstein, where they are trying to push the boundaries of detection by combining all these algorithms together.
But iMARS results, some of them are already usable. So it's very important that we start using it as soon as possible because they are available. The first one that I will quote is, of course, method to have reliable enrollment. Really something that has to be widespread is our training. We have a training. So all those border guards in Europe and beyond Europe, why not, if it's countries where it's allowed, can learn what morphing is and try to find them and use them in their daily work. And there is another result that is readily available for forensic experts, which is the help to find the effect of morphing in passports. And so these are our readily exploitable results. But we have other results that will, moving forward, being exploitable. But in order to be exploited, they need to be set up into the equipment of the borders, mostly. Morphing attack detection at the border, which are the algorithm we have developed, will be bought only if it's proven that it's a real important problem. I think that the investment in changing the border solutions so that they include morphing attack detection capability will come when we have a consolidated, a better view of whether morphing is this problem or this problem or this problem or this problem or more. So in order to know that, we do have tools that are not perfect. They are false positive, they are false negative. But with some statistic, we will have an idea if we make a test that measures how widespread morphing is. And we can do that now. So that's really what I would like to see after iMARS.